He's back! So today we're gonna have around 15 to 20 books, and it does seem like kind of like a lot, but we also have to kind of keep in mind I read a little bit more than the average person. A lot of these books are going to be ARCs, which stands for Advanced Readers Copies, which just means that these are copies of books that they send to reviewers to kind of get those pre-reviews out there to kind of get people talking about the books. So first of all, we're going to have quite a few books sent to me from Sourcebooks, and I'm actually super excited about this, so thank you so much. So sometimes the advanced readers copies come with little pieces of paper talking about the marketing plan, etc., etc. This is Stuart Turton's The Devil in the Dark Water. Now, I read Stuart Turton's 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that one was amazing. It was just it was mind-blowing. It was so good. So when I saw that he was actually coming out with a new book, I knew that I had to ask if they have any copies of it for reviewers. This book focuses on Samuel Pepys and his bodyguard, Arndt. Samuel is the greatest detective of the era, and he's being transported via ship to his execution. There's voices and livestock dying and all kinds of symbols appearing. There's some sort of devilry on the ship. However, with Samuel locked up, it's up to Arndt to figure out what's happening. Now, this one sounds so good. It sounds so different from everything else I've read, so I'm super psyched about it. My hopes are so freaking high for this one. Black Widows focuses on 3 wives, Rachel, Tina, Emily, and they're all married to the same man. And at first, things seem to be working out until Bill is murdered. And all 3 of them are the suspects. So judging this one from the cover, I know, I'm not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but what's the point of the cover unless I'm going to judge it? This one feels like it's going to be really dark, possibly disturbing. I'm expecting chills. I want chills from this one. This one is 3 single wives, which also involves 3 married women, but not in the same context as Black Widow. These 3 women have a book club, and one night the book club gets on the subject about philandering, cheating husbands. And by the end of book club night, someone is dead. So I love the idea of this one surrounding a book club because I'm a huge fan of book clubs. I'm in 4, 5 book clubs. One of the quotes on the back does call it a dark comedy. And I feel like the concept works really well as a dark comedy. And I'm really excited to see where this one goes. So The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. In December 1926, investigators found Agatha Christie's car empty and abandoned next to a pond. 11 days later, Agatha shows up, but she says she has amnesia and she can't remember any of the time she was gone. And this book seeks out what happened in those 11 days. And it kind of seems to be a little bit more of a historical, here's what probably happened sort of book. I normally don't go for historicals. However, I do like the sound of this one. And I do have a few Agatha Christie's, right here. And then There Were None. I think I have a Perrault one in here somewhere too. I am intrigued by this one. I'm very curious for how it will go. He's back! So this one is Kevin Kwan's Sex and Vanity. So if anyone remembers, back in the day, Crazy Rich Asians took the literary world by storm. It was an amazing trilogy. It spawned an amazing movie. And we've all just kind of been waiting for the author to keep writing. And I've been desperately checking Goodreads and all kinds of book news sites, waiting and wishing for more books by Kevin Kwan. I was sent this one by Doubleday Books, and it came out I think about a month ago, maybe a little bit more, and I am ecstatic. So this one focuses on Lucy Churchill. She's American-born Chinese. Her mother was from China. Her father is a blue-blooded New Yorker. She meets George Zhao, and there's something about him that she actively avoids him in all possible situations so that she doesn't fall in love with him. A few years later, she's having dinner with her fiance and she sees George again. And now he's become irresistible. I'm already loving this premise. It's Kevin Kwan, so like I'm expecting like absolute insanity with the characters. I'm expecting like tension, drama, mystery, and possibly someone dying at the end. I don't know. All I know is I want to read this one as fast as possible. So every so often, publishers will do like a fun press package for books, and they'll include sometimes like little bookish goodies in with their books. So I got this one, and it's Maximum Ride, and if you notice right away, there's feathers sticking out of it. Maximum Ride is a series that came out when I was in high school, and it was all about these genetically enhanced teenagers slash children. They had wings and they had other powers, and I remember just being obsessed with that series, just like 110% obsessed. The first 3 books are really good. The 4th book is kind of like a companion novel. The 5th one starts to wear. The 6th one kind of keeps going and going. And I remember reading this plot synopsis of the last book that he said was in the main series, and I remember going, that doesn't make sense. How did the characters start here and then end up there? And I remember being so mad at just those spoilers in the book that I refused to read it. However, I am insanely curious what this next Maximum Ride is. Oh gosh, something fell right away. So it comes with Hawk, the Next Generation Takes Flight. It's a little bookmark, a little metal bookmark, and feathers. Lots of feathers. Here's like the inside of the box. This is like the first time I ever got like a fancy box like this, which I like it. So when Hawk was 5, she was left in a desolate city street by her parents, and she was told that they would come back for her, and they never did. And she waits for them with her faithful pet Ridley. James Patterson can write, and he can write pretty good. So I'm hoping that this book sent to me from Little Brown Books will pan out. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, because I remember just absolutely loving the original Maximum Ride series. And then getting like so mad when it didn't pan out the way I was hoping it would. So like here's hoping that like the new book in this universe ends up being alright. So next up, this one is by Karen Slaughter, and it is The Silent Wife. And this is a William Morrow book, so thank you very much for sending it to me. So for this one, it follows a police officer, Will Trent. He's investigating the death of a prisoner, and he finds out that one of the inmates, who has always been like the prime suspect of this really horrendous killing of a woman, says that he's innocent and that the real serial killer is out there. So William is faced with the choice of opening up this investigation. While he's deciding whether or not to do that, a woman is brutally murdered, and he has to try and figure out, is this a fluke or is there really a serial killer out? This one looks quite good. I've only read a handful of Karen Slaughter books, and for the most part I've enjoyed them. I've never am able to predict them. I hope this one's going to be like kind of like one of those like spine-tingling murders where you don't know what's up, you don't know what's down, all you know is that you need to figure out the end. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that this is going to be the case here. And the next one we have is Skunk and Badger by Amy Timberlake. It's from Algonquin Young Readers. This one focuses on Badger, who has to take in a new roommate known as Skunk. Nobody ever wants to live with a skunk because the stink. But Badger cannot refuse this roommate. There's going to be tons of hijinks. I've told that there's going to be far too many chickens in this one, which I just love the creativity of middle grade books. I love this one already, and I haven't even read it. Now we're going to hit some indie and self-pub books. The first one is called Princess Rose and the Quest of the Golden Gown. This one is a middle grade book, and it follows Princess Rose, her favorite horse, and a stable boy. And when she turns 13, she's given this mysterious map, and she decides to figure out where it goes. And she's supposed to run into all kinds of magical beings and dangers and adventures. This one looks like a super cute, absolutely charming book. So I'm going to definitely keep my fingers crossed with this one. I think this is going to turn out really, really well. This is book 3 of the Chronicles of the Valroux series. This one focuses on McKenna. Her siblings have this amazing, incredibly cool destiny, except for they're like babies right now. So they don't really have any protection. However, McKenna is the Virago, so she is the protector of her siblings. And there's all kinds of creatures and beings trying to get them, and she's going to do whatever she can with her magic skateboard and her best friend to keep them safe. This series has been so far very fun, very unexpected, but in a good way. So we have a few more indie books that were sent my way. This one's wrapped in brown paper for me. I think this is someone who I met on Reddit, if I want to say this right. I was talking to them about books, and then I kind of mentioned I was a reviewer, and then they offered to send me their book, and I was like, of course, send me the book. I love the books. Oh, yep. This is the Man Butcher Prize. If you've seen my most recent episode of Some Good Book News, the author was featured on it. So in this world, there's an empire, and it's corrupt. It's so corrupt, and everyone is essentially just murdering each other, hiring assassins, etc., etc. Our main character, Will, messes up so terribly that the only way to get back into the Assassin's Guild is to compete for the Man Butcher Prize, which is supposed to be like this extremely bloody, extremely difficult situation where you have to pretty much kill everyone to make your way out. I normally don't read bloody books, and I don't think this one's going to be too graphic, but I am definitely already invested into it. I always love twisted contests, if that makes sense, and I feel like this one's definitely going to fit that bill. We have The Most Amazing Harvest. Twins Pam and Paula were actually on my Some Good News BookTube special edition before I changed the title to Some Good Book News, and they submitted a video about how they wrote a book together. This one's about a farmer who is battling cancer and trying to keep his farm running, and how the community rose up to help him when he most needed it. This one promises to be a really nice feel-good story. I'm ready for some good feels in this one. So the next couple books actually came from Familius. And kind of keeping with my shoutouts to Some Good Book News, I think this was the very first episode, it might have been the second episode, but I got to do an interview with the author about her board book. And it was such a cool experience to talk about what it's like to write a book with such few words, where every single word has to count and has to be perfect. This book focuses on what it means to be a family, and it shows children that families come in all sizes, all shapes, and all colors. Sometimes pink, blue, and fuchsia. I've already read this one because it's like a few hundred words. It is really adorable. I love the structure of it, and I really like the cadence of the words. It's one of those books that, like, it sounds good when you say it out loud. This is the last one sent to me from Familius this round, and it's called The Mighty Silent E. And this is one of those alphabet books. So this one takes letters from the alphabet, gives them all personalities, and kind of like rearranges them in various words, trying to get the spelling right and make words work. But they can't do it without the mighty silent E. And this book is all about how the silent E works and its importance. So personally, I love the illustrations with this one. The personalities are all there. The text is fun and a little bit witty, if I do say so. Crazy Stupid Bromance, and that one was from Berkley Publishing and Netgalley. So the Bromance book club focuses on these macho men, like, you know, athletes, etc., etc. And they all come together to read romance books to learn how to be better men. Crazy Stupid Bromance, the third book in the series. This one follows Alexis. And Alexis from the second book was a kind of a side character. She was being harassed by one of the bad characters, and then she brought it all to light. She was instantly kind of thrown into fame. So in this book, now that she's famous, a surprise sister comes out of the woodwork. She's so freaked out by this that she goes to her very best friend, Noah. Now, Noah used to be a computer hacker, now he's a computer consultant, and he's been harboring the greatest crush on Alexis for all this time. After a lifetime of not pulling a move, he has no idea what to do until the Bromance Book Club comes into his life. This one, if it's anything like the previous two, it's just going to be like a really fun, really flirty, a little bit steamy sort of book, and I'm going to be living for it. Next up is The Secret French Recipes of Sophie Valroux. This one was sent to me from Berkley, and I got it through Netgalley as well. This one follows Sophie, and she's always had the dream to become a Michelin-starred chef. And it was really, her career was on track, everything was ready. Then she's sabotaged by one of her fellow chefs. And she's lost, and she doesn't know what to do with her life. She finds out her grandmother has a stroke and she has to go back to town. And just when everything seems completely and utterly pear-shaped, things begin to turn around. So I tentatively am very excited for this one. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to play out, so we'll have to see. But I think like this one could be like really, really good. So the last one I picked up is Wench by Maxine Kaplan. Alright, so in this book we follow a bar wench. She has always worked at this bar, and she's been able to handle every situation thrown at her, but then her guardian dies, and she has to try and petition the queen to allow her to keep the bar in her name. I love it, the idea of it. I love the concept of it. It's a woman who is on a mission to keep her livelihood. I think like this one has a lot of potential, and I think like it could work really, really well. Whew! Any of you still there? Give this video a like and pat yourself on the back. You made it. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.